What's up, my friends? David Moss Jr. here, and right now I'm sitting in the Lumen Gardens in the St. Regis in Rome, Italy. And in this video, I want to try to explain in the most simple way possible my theory, just from being in Italy for a week, on why Italians are so much healthier than Americans, simply by their diet and their lifestyle, just in my observation. Now, before I begin, I want to tell you about this metabolic device that I've been using recently. It's called a Lumen. It's right here. It looks like a vape, but it's not. How funny, I'm in the Lumen Gardens here and I have a Lumen metabolic device, right? So Lumen is a really cool metabolic device that you're able to breathe in, and every morning I do a morning breath where I breathe in through the Lumen, and it's able to tell through my CO2 if I'm burning primarily carbohydrates and glucose or if I'm burning fat, which is my stored fat, which is my goal. And I will tell you, in my experience being here in Italy, that I've probably eaten almost no meat. So since I've been here, I've eaten pretty much no meat, no steaks, no hamburgers, almost nothing. The only meat I've had is the first night I had lobster and I had some fish, but it was riddled with pasta, right? I've had wine, I've had pasta, I've had croissants, I've had bread, I've had baguettes, I've had tons and tons and tons of carbs. And my theory and my hypothesis on this was I was gonna bring the Lumen just to see just how bad it was. And what's crazy is back in the States, I'm primarily a carnivore. I'm about 90% carnivore diet, 10% American diet. I try to have fun and live, right? But I've been really shocked to find that every single day, even though I've eaten primarily carbs and primarily pasta and a lot of wine, I don't drink back home, but a lot of wine. And I told myself when I came to Italy, I was gonna indulge and I was gonna experience all that Italy has to offer. But since I've been here, I've eaten pretty much exclusively carbs. And every day when I do my morning breath, the first day post-travel, it was a 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is burning primarily fat, 5 is burning primarily or all carb. So I blew a 5 after the day of travel. The first day we ate pizza, we ate pasta, we ate all this beautiful stuff. The second day I blew a 4. And guess what? The third day, after eating nothing but the beautiful Italian diet, I blew a 3. So it's been crazy to me that I've been eating primarily carbohydrates and expected to blow a 5 every single day, but every day it's been going down. So that is very interesting to me, and I'm gonna try my best to explain why I think that is. All right, so foundationally, to have good food, which is the byproduct of everything that goes into it, you have to have good foundations. And here in Italy, they take great pride in their water. Water is the foundation to pretty much all food. Not just the food that we eat as far as like the ingredients, you use water for a lot of the ingredients, but also the meat and the pasta and the soil. Really good water, really nutrient-rich water enriches the soil, which enriches everything that comes from the soil. And that's really cool. And not only is the water top-notch, it comes from, apparently from what I've heard and what I've found out, is the water here, they actually have these water fountains all over the city for everyone to just drink and fill their bottles up, and the water's constantly running and it's cold and it's beautiful. It comes through these cast iron pipes that I believe the Romans built who knows how long ago, and a lot of the water, all the water comes through the mountains, so it's beautiful spring water, it's natural spring water, and you can taste it. And what's crazy to me is I've looked and I haven't been able to find one bottle of purified water, not one bottle of purified water. And back in the States, you have to really work hard to try to find spring water. Most of the water you see at the store or tap water is super highly filtered. It's not spring water, it's mega filtered, and there's chemicals loaded in there to try to just bleach out the color and bleach out the smell, because our water is unfortunately very, very terrible. And a lot of it comes down to where the water is sourced from, where the water is bottled from, and where the water comes from. So most of the states in the United States, our water sucks. It really does. And that's why I've became a really big proponent of finding and buying and drinking and using quality water, which is much harder in the States than it is here in Italy. So since our bodies are primarily water, wouldn't you think it's important to make sure that the food that we're eating, the soil that we're growing, and the water that we're consuming is also quality, to make sure the nutrients are also making their way into our bodies, so that the water that's in our bodies is also quality? So that's probably the hardest thing, and one of the biggest differences between Italy and the States is the water quality, which is the foundation to everything, is top notch here. Another big difference that I've been able to find in just talking to a lot of the restaurant owners, the ones that can speak English, there's been a lot that haven't been able to, and it's been fun. Not that they can't, but they can't understand everything that I'm asking. But one of the things I found is the ingredients are minimal. There's no preservatives, or none that they know of. No preservatives, there's no fillers, there's no crap. Like the food, the pasta, the breads, everything is pure food. Like, is that so much to ask? Can our food just not be pure food, right? So when I was asking them, hey, so what goes into this bread? They look at me silly and they say flour, water, and a little bit of olive oil. And the cool thing is it's all sourced from right here. They don't import a bunch of junk food from the farms in America. Unfortunately, most of the farms in America are GMO. They're sprayed with pesticides and it's terrible. The practices here in Italy are much better, so the food quality is much higher. So that's the food and the water. Honestly, like you can go crazy Googling and researching all this stuff. Just to simply put it, the food quality is much higher. The water quality is much higher. I would say it's some of the best on the planet. So if you're ever in Italy, make sure that you indulge and enjoy all the food. So that's food and water. Let's talk about lifestyle. All right, so being a tourist here in Italy, you don't really get the full experience of working. Like when you're working somewhere, obviously you spend a lot of time in one stationary place, and when you're touring and you're visiting and you're vacationing, you're obviously walking and you're moving a lot. I will tell you there's a lot more traffic here in Italy than I thought there was gonna be. Well, we're in Rome, so Rome is a big city, obviously, so there's a lot of traffic with cars, so it kind of encourages you to walk and to move with your feet everywhere you go. So we've walked a lot. I use this Garmin GVDH 2000, which I actually have a really cool video on. I'll put the link to that in the description below, but it's a great watch. And I've been hitting almost 20,000 steps a day, which isn't a lot to some people, but it's a lot to some people. And to think about it, if you just move a little bit more every single day, you're gonna burn just a few more calories than you would if you moved a little bit less. It's kind of simple, right? So when you're here and you're eating pastas and you're drinking wine and you're eating breads, you are also moving a lot more, especially if you're vacationing and you're walking, if you're not taking Ubers or taxis everywhere. And if you're moving and you're walking a lot more, obviously you're burning calories. So it's kind of cool to know that your lifestyle of walking most places is also really good for the overall health of your body. They also don't stress as much. Like we literally watched somebody almost get T-boned and all they did was this. That was it. No stress, like just no big deal. And when you walk around this place, it's really crazy because like there's almost an accident about every 5 seconds, but no one stresses over it, not even the policia. It's just chill. It's like people jaywalking, running across the street in front of buses, and it's just like, no biggie. Everyone just stops, lets people cross, and then they start going. So it's like the stress level is just a little bit lower here too. I'm sure that helps. And one thing I've also noticed is not a lot of the locals vape. Most of the locals who still smoke, they all smoke cigarettes, which I know this isn't, a PSA to say, hey, smoke cigarettes, but cigarettes are way healthier for you than vaping. I don't care who you are or what you say, just do the research on it. Cigarette smoking is way healthier for your body than vaping. Neither of them are great for you, but at the end of the day, if you're gonna do one, you might as well choose the one that's a little bit better for your body. So I was talking to a few of the locals about it, and a lot of them, they think vaping is stupid. They think a lot of the stuff that we started and we've done over in the States is stupid. Like they look at you stupid when you ask the question. So I wanted to point that out because it's something that I've noticed and I asked the question, but almost none of the locals here vape. If they smoke anything, they smoke cigarettes. Not that I condone smoking cigarettes. There was a lady just next to me smoking cigarettes and I wanted to bring this up and she also looked at me and smiled. So I guess what I just said is true. All right, so now that I've talked about the water quality, the food quality, the lifestyle, and even some of the negative habits, I want to talk about just a few more of the negative habits that I've noticed here that are much better for you than they are for us in the States. All right, so coffee and energy drinks, right? They're a huge thing in the States. We all drink a lot of energy drinks and we drink a lot of coffee. We drink a lot of caffeine. I love coffee. I'll be honest, I drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of caffeine, and every once in a while I indulge on a nice energy drink too. Did you know that here in Italy, the servings of everything are smaller? And that's kind of the crazy thing. I was reading something on McDonald's, and even the portions that you get at McDonald's are smaller sizes than you would get back in the States. Not only that, the ingredients are also different. But when you go into a shop here, a bar, or anywhere, and you get yourself a coffee, most of the locals don't get a huge coffee loaded with milk, loaded in sugar like we get at Starbucks and most of the coffee shops. They get a cappuccino with whole milk, and the whole milk here is a lot healthier than the milk that we drink back home. Most of it is raw. Most of it is unpasteurized. Most of it is pure. And it's crazy. You walk around and it's very hard to find an obese natural Italian. Like the obese Italian is like the average dad bod in America. And it's crazy. I would highly encourage, if any of you from the States travel to Italy, just try to find a local person that is obese, like super obese, like we see back home in the States a lot, right? So a lot of the people who drink energy drinks here also, they'll have one and they're small. They're like the original Red Bull can. That's the biggest size you could find here, like no bigger. There's even Monsters, like the Monsters that I used to drink back before I started this health journey. I drink the Monster juice all the time, and they're massive back home. Here, they're half the size. So the portions are much smaller. So if you're gonna indulge in something and you are gonna have an energy drink, the calorie count is much lower. So not only are you eating cleaner, you're drinking cleaner, when you are indulging, it's smaller sizes and the activity level here is much higher. These aren't things that we can't do back in the States. So if being here has taught me anything that I want to bring back home with me, and I wanted to make this video to try to encourage other fellow Americans who are trying to live a little bit healthier, is minimize your portions. Move a little bit more. This isn't hard stuff. This is simple stuff. Indulge, and when you indulge smaller quantities. And when you drink water, don't drink tap water. The tap water back in the States is terrible. It is. Everyone knows it. Google it, research it, look at water samples, whatever you got to do. But try to drink natural spring water from a glass bottle primarily if you can, because even the plastics that we have back home are terrible for us. So that's my message. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to encourage my fellow American friends out there that when you do travel the world, you'll notice some differences in different countries, and Italy happens to be a very healthy country compared to the States. And I'm very curious to figure out, what is the difference. So to simply put it, the water quality, which is the foundation to all food, is much higher, and it's spring. It's all spring. They want the total dissolved solids. They want the mineral content in the water. So you get that, and you get that into the soil, you get that into the food. The animals that they're eating are also drinking the same water. Even the homeless people are able to drink higher quality water than most of the people in America are getting to drink. So water quality being very, very high leads to higher quality foods. Higher quality water, higher quality foods, having to move around a lot. You get the picture. It's a much healthier lifestyle by default. So now that I've told you that, I want to show you just a few clips of what I've been able to see here in Italy. Let's roll the film. So good food starts with a foundation of good water. And here in Rome, one of the things that I love is there's these beautiful natural drinking fountains that are made from the spring water from the mountains that the Romans had built hundreds of, maybe thousands of years ago. And the water comes through these aquifers that they built out of cast iron straight here into these water fountains for the locals and the tourists to just drink. So the water quality here in Italy is top notch. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions that I did not go over here, please ask them in the comments below. I like to engage with anybody who has any questions. Also, if you have any interest in getting yourself a Lumen metabolic device, I'll put the link in the description below, along with a couple other affiliate links of some of the companies I like to really promote because I use them every single day. I hope you guys all have a great day. I'll see you on the next video, and God bless.